Dark Lake is a murder mystery, but it's really a character exploration, I think. Detective Gemma Woodstock is the lead protagonist, and she, at the start of the book, is thrust into a murder investigation where the victim was a classmate of hers from 10 years ago. And she conceals the shared history that they had. So straight away, I suppose the reader knows that Gemma is the good guy. She's trying to find out who killed Rosalind Ryan, but she's also hiding an awful lot. So I think she's a conflicted, interesting character, hopefully. And it's funny, I was sort of partway through drafting another book that had a similar kind of lead protagonist, conflicted protagonist situation. And this just really came along and interrupted and derailed that plan I had. So I sort of switched to writing this one and then, sort of finished it, which was worthwhile. It wasn't based on anything that happened or a character in my world. I more just started to sort of think about a premise around a small town where the lake was really central to the story. I sort of knew someone would die in it. And then from there, I think it was really the character of Gemma that kind of came through at the start. And then it I just kept adding people into her storyline and the way that it kind of unfolded. Finishing it was the main objective at the start. And then I guess once I got past that tricky first few chapters, it was really important to me to craft a story that had really strong characters that people connected with. Yeah, so this is the thing that I'm most interested in. So every story that I've ever started to write or half finished and now finished is all based on that premise, I think. So I find that really interesting. I think about the stories that I've always really liked reading, and I think it's the ones where you really like a character, but then they do things that you find really compromised or frustrating or complicated. And I think it's realistic, and I think it's really interesting. I think Gemma's very stuck. I wouldn't go so far as to say trapped, but she certainly feels that way. I think because she's had a child that has changed everything for her, and it wasn't sort of a planned event in her life. So she's a bit of a victim in the sense that she isn't taking control of her future, but she certainly does have a lot of things that are getting in the way of her having clarity. So she's very strong and she's very reliable in a lot of ways, but I would also argue that she's quite compromised in all of the different roles she's trying to fulfil, particularly one as a mother. Yes, I would say I read a lot of crime fiction. I always have. So even when I was quite young, I was really drawn to crime fiction, like mystery novels. But I also read a lot of fiction just broadly as well, lots of dramatic, character-based fiction mainly.